physical world, let's say. So, what we have here is limbs of the human body that were found by the archaeologists in a shrine dedicated, a temple actually, dedicated to Asclepius, the healer god of the ancient Greeks. Now, interesting thing, his father is a god, his mother is a mortal woman. And he becomes a healer, making miracles, resurrecting people. He's killed because man should not be able to resurrect. And then they started worshiping and he became a god. Does that sound familiar?
Oh yeah.
Son of a god and a virgin, makes miracles, resurrects, he dies and then he resurrects. But he's not the real Messiah. We don't know what's happening. But this is telling us that yes, he was here. Yeah, and it's mentioned there in Greek says synagogue of the Hebrews, but it comes from a few centuries later. So just have a look at this. Because victory is fast. Like wings. That's why I have the swoosh in the Nikes. They're making a trophy. Trophy in Greek is tropeon, which means turning point. You have two armies fighting, and when the scales tip for the first time, that's a turning point where they start winning. So right on that spot, they would erect a monument with captured weaponry of the enemy. Tropeon, you may know the term in physics, entropy, which means to turn within yourself. Tropeon, tropheum in Latin, trophy in English, that already had a son named Nero.
Nero?
Yeah, to my knowledge, this is the best preserved face of Nero we have in the world right now. This narrow stretch of land, just 6 kilometers. Yeah. This body of water, this little gulf here. But from here to here, if you want to skip this, which is costly and dangerous, winds, pirates, you just move it overland. The Corinthians built 2 ports. One of the few cities in the world to have 2 ports in 2 different seas. Cenchrea, mentioned twice in the New Testament. Chapter 18, verse 18, book of Acts. Paul goes to Cenchrea, cuts his hair because of a vow, and with Aquila and Priscilla leave. Romans 16:1, I commend to you Sister Phoebe, a deacon from Cenchrea. The other was called Lechion, was bigger. So, in those days, if from Egypt you wanted to go to Rome, today you do this. In those days, forget this. No compass. You don't see the coastline, you don't know where you are. Forget this, Sahara Desert, empty, dry. Libya, Gulf of Sirte was, still is famous for its bad weather. Mentioned in the book of Acts when Paul was about to be shipwrecked. You do what makes no sense to us. You start moving opposite. But the winds go like this, so it makes sense. So all the wealth of Africa, loaded in Alexandria with all the wealth of the Middle East. By the way, Silk Road already existed. India, China, all the wealth of Asia Minor through Corinth to reach Rome and vice versa. That's why from nothing, it exploded. It's the fortress, the walls. We are right here. This is what has been uncovered. Then the walls all the way down to the sea. Now this looks like this. You could see the people falling. We are here. The Agora, or forum. Agora meaning gathering place. Because you have the marketplace, you have the temples, you have the administration buildings, which can also be used as tribunals. Every time you hear about Paul being dragged to the Agora, to the marketplace to face the authorities, in the text it says Agora. He's not being brought at a mall He's actually been taken to the other side where the administrators and the judges are. Agora meaning gathering place, so if you're afraid to be in a place with too many people, it's agoraphobia. That's something we should always remember about the Christians, because each one of us would rather be beaten instead of being humiliated, because they mangle your soul. And what I find remarkable about Paul is that every single time he was beaten, he was wrong. And almost every single time, he could have gotten away with it by saying, Roman pastor, this is nothing compared to the crucifixion.
Yeah.
In the first time we saw what crucifixion may mean was with Mel Gibson's
Movie. Yes.
But the reality is much worse, because Mel Gibson actually put clothes to Jesus when we know they were naked. And it didn't show you what's at the foot of the cross coming out of the body.
Yeah.
That's what the Lord had to endure. End it all. And then you can caption it with these famous verses from 2 Corinthians. Remember, altar dash punishment block, bema, where you can have a king and a judge. In a judgment that may end up in punishment or triumph. A rock rising up dramatically with a fortress, a stronghold. And on top of that, you would have seen the temple of Aphrodite with all that foul cult entailed. You take a picture of all these things and you'll see that in these verses you have every single verb or noun in the picture.
고린도후서 10장 4절 5절 6 until 6이야. 4절 5절 6절이요. 우리의 싸우는 병기는 육체에 속한 것이 아니요 오직 하나 앞에서 견고한 진을 파하는 강력이라. 모든 이론을 파하며 하나님 아는 것을 대적하며 높아진 것을 다 파하고 모든 생각을 사로잡아 그것에 복종케 하니 너의 복종이 온전히 될 때 모든 복종치 않는 것을 버리고 예배하는 중에 있노라. 이 앞에서 보면은 그게 설명이 되는 거예요.
This is the most important spring of Corinth. Corinth. The reason why the city was founded here is because they had the water there. Okay, today we're not allowed to go, but through the arches inside until the 1960s, people were allowed to take the water home. If I had to bet, I would say that it was a primary target for the Christians. Why? Because being the most important spring, it attracts people from all around. The locals and the foreigners, the sailors, the merchants, the passengers from the port, the administration, the priests that otherwise you cannot find, and many of the locals. At the same time, it's a primary target to evangelize those sacred slaves if they still existed, because that's a place they would all often visit. But in verse 23 says, Gaius, who is host to me and to the whole church, greets you. Erastus, the city treasurer, and our brother Quartus greet you. Erastus, the city treasurer. First line, Erastus, that's the right name. Pro edilitate, SP Stravit. SP is an abbreviation, sua pecunia in Latin.